Alright, welcome back to Dinopedia, entry number 50, the Yutyrannus. Remember to like if you like, and subscribe down below for more videos. So of course, scheduled today's look at the Yutyrannus from Ark Survival Ascended, looks at tips and tricks of the dino, potential add-ons for Ark Survival 2, which is coming out in 2025, at least it's scheduled to, and reworking from a new game, Dino World. Let's get into it. So the Yutyrannus from Ark Survival Ascended is in the Kingdom Animalia because it's an animal, group reptilian because dinosaurs are lizards and it is a dinosaur and a lizard. And description is a woolly rex because it's the furry rex. It's just a rex with fur all over its body, as you can see. Its traits: it's aggressive, apex predator of the snowy biomes. It usually spawns with an allied pack of Carnotaurus, but it will rarely spawn with an allied pack of Allosauruses, so do be careful because it usually is going to spawn with a pack of some sort of Carno or Allosaurus pack that is allied to it, so it is a very hard thing to tame, but it does rarely spawn by itself sometimes, so that is something to watch out for if you're just flying around looking to tame one. Try and tame one that doesn't have a pack of allied dinosaurs with it, because then it's pretty much unstoppable and very hard to tame. So of course the health stats of Yutyrannus is very similar to a Rex. It is basically the middle ground between an Allosaurus and a T-Rex. Has a health of 1100, stamina 420, nice, oxygen 150, food and water 3000 each, weight 500, melee 55 damage base. Base walking speed is 7 meters per second with a swimming speed of 3 meters per second and a torpor of 1550. So very middle of the road stats between an Allosaurus and a Rex as it was supposed to be. So of course it has many utilities and roles. Tips: it's a support tank using your Courage Roar, which is one of the 2 roars you have to use. You can boost the attack damage of allies by 25% and reduce oncoming damage by 20%, basically boosting the attacks of all creatures in your radius, which is essential for a boss fight, and it also increases pack bonuses as well, so pretty much the ultimate support tank to use in a boss fight or combat in general. It's also an offensive support. Using your Fear Roar, you can debuff attacking creatures' damage by 30% and a weakness buff of a powerful 50% if you get a high-level Yutyrannus. Remember, all debuffs that are percentage-based are increased based on your level, so even though a level 25 will probably do like 15% weakness buff, with a level 100 probably doing 20 to 30% weakness debuff, the max level is 50%, so do try and get a max level Yutyrannus on your team to get that 50% weakness debuff added to creatures. And then it's also a pack Rex. It's basically the better Allosaurus. It can pack with other dinos, dealing more damage, running faster, and having a smaller hitbox than a Rex. Even though it doesn't do more damage than a Rex, it does run faster and has a very small hitbox compared to the Rex. And then of course tricks: it's a kibble farm. Its eggs can be collected passively to be used for kibble production, so it is very effective. Also, you really don't need more than one Yutyrannus. You can just have one, so you really can just use its eggs for kibble production, because you only need like 1 or 2, one for combat and one for boss fights, because they don't really have a pack bonus. It's only mostly just packing with other dinosaurs, so like you really don't need to overbreed them. You can just have like 1 or 2 or just have 3, one for base protection, one for boss killing, and then one for combat. And then Fearful Fertilizer: when using its Fear Roar at its full potential, creatures will not be able to flee, and instead just defecate themselves, making it so you can just collect their poop for fertilization. And then finally, it's a Torpor boost. When using its Fear Roar, it can boost the amount of Torpor indicated on affected creatures, leading to them being knocked out quicker. So it's basically a Torpor machine as well. So when combined with Torpor dinosaurs like Troodons, Kentrosauruses, and Pachycephalosauruses, it can just boost their Torpor damage and basically knock out targets much better and more effectively. So it's basically a support tank's offensive support. Use it in combat or boss fights a lot, and you only really need one to do all of this. So it is a very valuable tame to protect, but also it is very effective in combat. Additional qualities: I think the only really thing they need to do is make it so that the gangs it spawns with is more like diverse. Maybe it has a hybrid game where it spawns with 2 Carnosaurus, with both Carnotaurus and 1 Allosaurus, or vice versa. So it either spawns with a group of 3 Carnotaurus and an Allosaurus, or 2 to 3 Allosauruses and 1 Carnotaurus. It also has a super pack, spawns with both a pack of Allosauruses and a pack of Carnotaurs, so it basically has a super pack of 3 Allos, 3 Carnos, and itself basically a 7 dino pack of basically domination. And then a dual pack which spawns with 2 Yutyrannuses, basically doubling the amount of damage done by a pack of Carno or a pack of Allosaurus. So basically it's just a super pack with 2 Yutyrannus instead of just 1. That's pretty much the only thing you can add on, because pretty much the Yuty is already pretty much the most valuable tame to have in a combat situation. So really the only thing they need to add on is just, I guess, better packs and more dangerous packs. So if we're looking at the Ark Survival Evolved versus the Jurassic World 1, I think the Jurassic World 1 looks a lot better. I do think the Ark 1 is pretty cool and it has the fur, but the Jurassic World 1 has fur but also just has a more intimidating structure, and I do believe the furry plume of fur around the tail is very threatening as well and just looks more cooler. Looking at the Dino World 1, obviously ours has fur. I think ours looks a little bit better because it has a better color pattern on its tail, but that's just me. The Ark Survival 1 is still very solid, but I think it is still the lesser of the 2 graders. And looking at the Yuty from Dino World in the new game, obviously it's shortened its name to Yuty instead of Yutyrannus, but that's just what most people call the Ark Yutyrannus anyway. So there's 2 types, the normal Yuty, which is the wild and tame dino variant, and the mutated Yuty, which is the product of 2 tame Yutyrannuses, mating, breeding, and egg laying, plus a gene computer to generate mutations. It's a kingdom Animalia, because of course it's an animal, group reptilian, because of course it's a lizard, we've already discussed this. Its class is theropod, because of course it's a 3-toed, 3-fingered carnivore. That's what they're called, the theropods of the dinosaurs that are 3-toed, 3-fingered, large carnivores. And it's the family of Rex, because of course it's in the Rex family along with the T-Rex, Nanosaurus, and Tarbosaurus. And of course, when we look at the stats of Dino World in the Yuty versus the Ark Survival Yuty, not much has changed. Stamina has increased to 450 instead of 420. Nice. Melee is 60 instead of 55. Base and torpor is 1600 instead of 1550 with a fortitude of 2. And of course, in the Dino World, the Yutyrannus is kind of reworked a little bit. It has hybrid and super gangs and Carno Allo games similar to Ark, but instead its motivating roar does something different. So its courage roar and fear roars do something different. So the fear roar, instead of causing creatures to have a debuff, it'll make tames to flee without their rider. So basically, if you come across a wild one and it roars at you with its fear roar, your tame will just dismount you immediately. Your tame will run off without you, and you will be caused to suffer the consequences of a quick death by the pack or the Yutyrannus itself. And a wild Yuty, using its motivating roar, the other roar that is usually used to boost stats, can temporarily turn to a tamed creature against its owner. This was early in Ark game. They talked about adding this feature. I think that this is a good feature to have as a good thing to be like, hey, maybe you should just try and tame this with a trap instead of using a tame to weaken it and then tame it. I think this would be much better if it's to make it more of a fearful predator and something not to be messed with. Of course, its combat ability, motivating roar, boosts the damage and torpor of nearby allies by 50% and damage destruction by 30% with a 30-second cooldown. Same as the Ark Courage Roar, except it's put on a cooldown because it's a combat ability. And of course, wild Yuties using this in the wild can temporarily turn tame creatures against the owner, so it does have to have a 30-second cooldown because that is a little bit of OP ability. And then, of course, the last thing we're going to look at is the Dino World spawns in the main map of Europa. Obviously, spawn rates are color-coded. Blue for guaranteed to spawn, green very likely to spawn, yellow feudal likely to spawn, orange rare to spawn, red very rare to spawn, and purple for dead carcasses spawn. Of course, it can be found feudal likely to be found in the snowy river valley, which is in between the Taiga and the snowy mountain biomes right here, in this little river valley right here. And it is rare to spawn in both the Taiga snowy forest biome and the snowy mountainous biome. And that is going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like if you like, dislike if you don't, subscribe if you like it. Comment down below your thoughts. Everyone have a blessed day as always. And of course, as always, toodaloo, Happy New Year.